Good morning. I'm out here at the asparagus patch. I will show you how they did and what I'm doing. As you can see, it's very sparse. Only 2 of my asparagus that I planted last year made it. I was very late planting it. I believe it was in June. And now it is in January that I am planting the new starts. We did get a couple small asparagus off of this. My intention was never to start harvesting them very soon, but there were a couple of edible pieces. I went and got the same varieties that I had before, which, it stuck, which is the Purple Passion, which I've planted in these 8 holes over here, and hopefully they'll come up. I don't remember what these specifically are. It's either the, what are they called? Jersey Night or the Mary Washington over here. So I just put the Purple Passions down at the end, and I'm going to continue the green down this way. These are, I've got them all set out. They're crazy looking little things, but we're going to try again, and hopefully we will have a better crop or rate of success with these this year, now that I'm planting them in the proper season. See the old start, it just died. The soil is pretty moist though. I don't water it over here, so hopefully we can, planting it in June, it went through the summer, and I probably didn't water it as often as I should have. Alright, I've got the asparagus planted, and I've put a wobbler sprinkler out here. I'll leave it running for a few hours just to make sure everything is watered well and moist. I'm going to leave those bowls as markers for now because I need to mark the rows, and that will do 2 things. That will mark them for me, but it will also show me how much water is actually getting into the ground just by how full the bowls are getting at those distances. So just killing 2 birds with 1 stone, and we will see what we have in the end. It is much later in the afternoon. I let the sprinkler go for 4 hours. You can see that was a pretty good bit of water on the outer edge, and also in the middle a little bit more, and then out on the other end. So I would say that we get a pretty good amount of coverage using that sprinkler. We are going to start some seeds today. First up are several varieties of tomatoes. Even though we have some tomatoes growing, the Happy Tappy indeterminate tomatoes, I'm going to go ahead and start some determinate tomatoes to see how they last through the warmer months, or spring and into warmer months. The Bush Steak Hybrid, Baby Boomer Hybrid, let's see here, I know there's Oregon Spring, and I just grabbed these at Home Depot. There's Roma VF, and let's see, that's about it for the tomatoes. I'm going to go ahead and start some eggplant. They seem to do well in the warmer months here in Central Florida. I'm going to try some bunching onions, some Swiss chard, and some more lettuces. Now the lettuces, it may be a little bit late for that, but I'm going to go ahead and see if they will do well for a little while anyway. We're keeping it in here between 80 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. We have a little heater here to kick on when it gets below 80 or 82, and we have an air conditioning unit to keep it at 85. So these two work in tandem to keep the proper temperature in here for starting these seeds that need a little bit warmer soil to germinate. And of course we will change that. We start germinating lettuces and more cool weather stuff that we want during this warmer spring and into the summer, so that we can have lettuce for a longer period of time, and we'll just keep them in the grow room and harvest them from here because it's just way too hot outside as it's getting warmer into the spring. I have this 162 cell tray that we got from Haas Tools. It has holes in the bottom. It's a deep cell for the roots and stuff. Our tomatoes seeded in here really well last year when we started our tappy seeds in August or September. They're the ones that we have growing in the garden now. I'm going to fill these trays in here so that I don't have a mess. I'm going to just line the bottom with some foil. Because I don't have a pan large enough to sit underneath it like this works with this. Now these, I'm going to put some of my seeds in. We have the tray here, but these are just going to be reused from previous purchases, etc. Just kind of using what we've got, and I like the idea of bottom watering. Now the soil that I'm going to use for these seedlings is this all-natural potting mix. I don't know if you can see this, all-natural potting mix from Kellogg Organics. I don't remember where I got this, but I'm trying to use it up, so that's what I'll be using. It's nice and fine and moist. It's really pretty. Okay, I have my trays filled. This stuff is pretty moist. I was going to take it outside and soak it down, but it's very moist, and so I don't think that I need to do that. I will, once I get the seeds in there, then I'll water them, probably with a watering can or something. But I only did 2 ends of this tray because all I need is about 40 tomatoes and 40 lettuces. So I just did that because that's what I have right now. So now I will get to seeding these trays and pick up from there. Alright, these are the Oregon Spring. I'm going to do about 3 per hole. And instead of digging holes, I'm just going to push them down in and cover them because they're only to be covered a 1/4 inch depth. So I think that should be fine. Alright, so I have seeded these and labeled them. I ended up doing 4 of the Burpee Bib, skipped a row, and did 4 of the Black Seed Simpson lettuce. and I marked my tomatoes accordingly. 2 rows for Roma BF, 3 rows for Baby Boomer Hybrid, 2 for these other 2 as well. And over here, a 9-pack of the Parade Bunching Onions and of the Ruby Red Swiss Chard, and 6 each of the Early Long Purple eggplant. So I'm going to sprinkle those with water now. The soil is already moist, so I'm not going to try to drench it extremely. I think that's plenty for now. All we have to do is keep them watered and wait for them to germinate and spring up and see how many we got. Okay, so what I've done is I have a spreadsheet of my garden. Down here you can see spring garden 22, fall 22, spring 23, and that way I can see what I have planted in each consecutive season. And these are our plans going into spring. So I've got to get on the ball with some of the direct seeding here. Like say, this is direct seed now, that's bush beans. Direct seed now, cucumbers, sunflowers, and pole beans and lima beans. And then I have dates in here as to when I need to either direct sow or transplant. And that's kind of how I keep up with the gardens and the changes. I've brought over from the previous season strawberries, some lettuce, the tomatoes, onions that I planted in November in the fall. So that's my organizational method. I'm still learning. I'm back in the grow room, and this is what I've done. I've been looking at some YouTube videos and getting some ideas as to their organizational ideas and how they keep up with seed germination and when to transplant and when to direct sow even. And so this is what I've come up with. I got the crop, the variety, this season, and some notes that help me keep up with the time frames, and I'm going to give that a try. Alright, now that I know which seeds need to be sown directly right now, I've come out to the garden to work on those particular rows because I mapped it out. As you saw, I mapped out in my spreadsheet where those direct seeds need to be sown now. And I will be working on those rows to prepare them, weed them, so that I can come out and sow them without having to worry about the weeds. All right, I'm out here planting whole beans. I don't know, the sun is right in my face. Hopefully you can see that. Kentucky Wonder, and here's what they look like. Just going along and planting them in this row. I'm gonna have a really long pole bean row this time, and looking forward to that kind of harvest. It's gonna be a lot of work, but it's gonna produce a lot.
little
Look at the
little
sky up
less in the
there.
corners, but
It's the end of the day and we have put temporary overhead sprinkler system in just to water the seeds that I planted today. And the first two, I planted sunflowers down the middle. And over here in row 11, as you saw earlier, I was planting pole beans. We've got to get the trellis up, but wanted to go ahead and get the seeds started because they don't really need the trellis yet. And this watering system is definitely impressing us. If you can see in the middle row there, we put the seedling pak choy and broccoli and peppers in there so that they could get watered. On this side, which is the west side of the garden, what we've decided to do, you'll see all of these water lines pulled back. We're going to get those disconnected, but on this side at least we're going to test it out and see if we like the overhead system better. It's definitely a lot easier to weed on the rows without having to dodge all of those lines, but we will keep the lines on the east side for now. I haven't updated in a while, but here are our collards. We've already gotten, I think, 3 meals out of them. They're so good, so tender. We're not really having any aphid issue. I saw a few aphids on one leaf so far, but everything else seems to be really clean. No pests so far. And over here, my garlic is up. Looks a little yellow. We have hit it with nitrogen, hoping that it will green up soon. We just watered it again, but I'm excited because this is my first time growing garlic. And up further down, you'll see my pak choy going to seed, flower into seed. I decided to leave those because this time of year the bees can use all the flowers that they can get, so I'm going to leave those there for a little bit. These things produce seed massively. I'll just have to make sure that I get all of those cut out before they dry and decide to seed themselves. Over here I was having a hard time getting lettuce germinated and growing, but at least that row over there is doing something, and we'll get several heads out of that. On this side, a little bit is coming up, and further down I have some red, what should be red romaine. Yeah, red romaine. Now over there are cabbages. We have a few that are still going and starting to head up, and I planted in these sections on either side of the strawberries. I planted those with bush beans. But let's see if we can check this out. Isn't that cute? So pretty. They seem healthy. Took them a while. I probably didn't water them like I should have. And here are our onions. They will be ready to harvest in a couple more months. It'll be into April. I love how you can see the red there, or the purple of the red Creole. That's what this line is right now. Right here, we've got Texas Early White and Bermuda, White Bermuda, and I think Texas Legend. There's a few different varieties there, but I knew I wanted to have a lot more than I had last year. So I'm trying to pay special attention to watering and feeding these nitrogen this time. Anyway, it's good to be back. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Keep smiling until next time, and I will see you later.